From WFRV TV, Local 5, serving Northeast Wisconsin, including Green Bay, Fox Cities, and the Lakeshore. This is Newsmaker Sunday.
Good morning. Welcome to Newsmaker Sunday. I'm Tom Zaleski. Well, something that can keep a community strong is volunteering, as people spend their time and their energy helping out those in need. In Brown County, the Volunteer Center is celebrating a special milestone. And our guest this morning, a familiar face on the program, Eric Sponholz, the Executive Director of the Volunteer Center of Brown County. Welcome back, my friend. Good to see you.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks for having me.
Before we get into the nuts and bolts of what's going on with your 50th, give me an idea, a little background, Eric. What's the pathway you took to get to where you are today?
Yeah, but before this in nonprofit, a lot of youth development. So did a lot of after-school things and a lot of different things working with kids, T-ball, coaching T-ball way back, doing those types of things. And, just wanted to try a little bit something different. And with nonprofit work, just trying to look for the right fit. And I knew a goal of mine was always to be the executive director of an organization. And this position with the Volunteer Center came up and went through the process, and here I am today. So it's been just over 7 years now. Mm-hmm. So it's very interesting for us at the organization to be able to see the lay of the land of nonprofits across Brown County, and really nice to see different things each and every day.
Why did you choose this career path, even going back to coaching and,
Sure.
and all the projects you had just mentioned? What is it about this position that appeals to you?
I was fortunate, I think, in my young life to be able to see a lot of different people who were helping others and being able to give back, whether it's coaches that had an impact on me or whether it's people in the community that had an impact on others. And when I start to think back about things like that, it was just really important for me to try to continue that. I was able to see some of my family be able to do that and really help out and give back and give of their time. And it was just something that I wanted to continue to see through, so that when I worked with youth and did the youth development piece, it was just a natural fit, right, working with kids. But as I kind of transitioned into my role with the Volunteer Center, it was helping the broader community and really helping a lot of these nonprofits that we partner with continue to find the people that they need to further their missions.
So what is your training, Eric? Education-wise, background-wise?
Yeah, so my degree is in communications. So being able to talk with people and understanding how that process works. Had some initial youth development experience with the Boys and Girls Club organization in my hometown and up here in Green Bay. So really just an opportunity again to see that through, see that working with youth piece through, and then how that's going to morph and help change my professional development as it pertains to other nonprofits. And that's what I've been able to do through the Volunteer Center.
And this is a special year for the Brown County Volunteer Center. 50 years, long time to serve any organization, mm-hmm. for any community. Brown County would be a much different place, would it not, without the Volunteer Center?
We definitely think so. And I think as we start to think about how we celebrate our 50 years here, how we started from a basement downtown with 10 folks who really wanted to come together and drum up an idea to give back, just to be able to be that social connector for the community and being able to put people in places where they can be successful, not just themselves. And you read all the articles about depression and how volunteering helps with that and different types of things along those lines, but not just that, but the nonprofits as well. They need that human capital, and we like to think that we're, again, that social connector that helps connect these potential volunteers who want to give of their time or talent to these organizations to make them even stronger.
And what has changed over the years as far as the need for volunteers? Have you seen a change in need?
There definitely has been. I think obviously COVID has helped with that change as far as groups and individuals that want to give back, and really the whole landscape of how volunteering looks. Really, it depends on the organization. Of course, but one of the things that we kind of run into from time to time is what volunteering looks like with a particular organization now. It didn't look like that 5 years ago. And of course, again, COVID threw a wrench into that, I think, a little bit. But the idea that there are more people banding together to give back to certain organizations, that's a really special thing for us, and we talk about it throughout the year, especially with the volunteer awards and some of the groups that we have that are nominated. But that group piece, and if you're at a workplace with a department of 10 people who want to give back, that's really exciting for us to be able to put those people in positions where they might not have known this nonprofit and how they can get more information about what it is that they're doing and really start to give back and see that impact throughout the community.
Brown County Volunteer Center, do you have a certain mission? Is there a certain goal, or does that change as time goes on?
Yeah, our main mission, Tom, is to really connect volunteers with our nonprofit partners. So the way we're structured is that we have affiliate agencies that we work with. Right now we've got just over 80 organizations that we work with to push out volunteer needs to the community. And we do that in many different ways through our e-newsletter that goes out every week, or our different publications that go out every month, or even our Get Connected platform that we have on our website that focuses on needs to workplaces and also local universities, high schools, things like that. So yeah, that is our main focus, where we want to be able to put these people in positions to succeed when they're volunteering, and the way we're able to do that and reach certain demographics of people, I think, is really important.
We're talking volunteerism. Our guest, Eric Sponholz, and we have much more to come when we come back, so please stay right there. We are back now with Eric Sponholz of the Volunteer Center of Brown County. I want to talk about some of the programs you offer through the Volunteer Center. First one, your community volunteer program.
Yeah, that's really our overarching main program when it comes to volunteers that are under the age of 55, whether it's group, whether it's individual, whether it's workplaces, whether it's civic groups, churches, those types of things. That's really the program where we can get to the crux of what these volunteers are looking for, and how we can utilize our affiliate base to be able to match them with the volunteers that's right for them, and with the volunteer organizations that are right for them. So it really is trying to dig a little bit deeper what they're interested in and how we can match them.
Another program, Reading Coaches for Kids.
Absolutely, one that's near and dear to my heart because of the youth development piece. And we work with kindergarten through 5th grade, and for the first time ever in our program's history, we had this program adopted back in 2001. And for the first time this year, we have over 100 reading coaches in our program. And what they do is they go into various schools in the Green Bay School District, and they work with kids on reading tone, reading comprehension, just again trying to build up that piece of what was maybe lost during COVID, and what we're still trying to regain, and being that caring, consistent person that these kids see maybe 1 or 2 hours a week, and they know that they're coming, and they know that they can have something to look forward to and be that mentor.
And you talked about the community volunteer program for those who are 55 and under, but now you've also got a retirees program specifically for retirees and seniors called RSVP.
That's right, the Retired Senior Volunteer Program. Right now we've got about over 200 volunteers in that program, and the really neat thing about that opportunity is that organizations get to work with these folks to be able to find what's right for them. Obviously, as a senior or as someone who has just retired or has been retired for a few years, and they're just looking for ways to be able to give back and continue to do things in the community, and this program really helps with that. We do provide mileage reimbursement to and from their volunteer organization station, which is really great for some of these volunteers, and just again that chance to have that conversation with these folks, figure out where their skill sets are, where their passions are, and how we can help connect them that way.
Yeah, I've heard so many people talk about retirement, and they all say if you're going to retire, you'd better have something to go to.
Right.
And the Volunteer Center seems like the place to go to.
Absolutely. We can definitely help, have those conversations, show you a couple of different options. And again, a lot of the organizations we work with, Tom, are always looking for maybe those specialized skills. So if you had a profession that you were in that lent itself well to maybe construction or maybe accounting or something like that, and how you can continue to use those skills for various different local organizations, that's what we want to know, and that's how we want to use that information to connect you with the right nonprofit.
And you mentioned your affiliate partners. How important are they to you? What do they do for your organization?
Our affiliate partners are vital. If it's not for them, it can be a real struggle, because for us, it's really utilizing their talents, their mission, what is important to them and how we can put those volunteers in the right places to be able to help them. So if it's something, again, with youth, if it's something with animals, if it's something with, the ADRC in town, how we can connect people, we rely on those affiliate partners that work with us to be able to provide that information to us so we can put it in the hands of people who could really use it.
And you've got a workplace volunteer council. What does this council do?
So the council is comprised of many different businesses throughout the area, and the idea is to get these folks in a room, whether they're coordinators of volunteers throughout their for-profit company, whether they're working in HR, those types of things, to be able to connect them with other like-minded individuals in other companies, to be able to share different types of opportunities that are available through different nonprofits, to be able to share best practice. What works for an organization over here may not work for an organization over here. So how can they share information and be able to put their best foot forward, their best volunteer program forward for their employees, and the Volunteer Center is able to help mediate that and provide direction, provide research, so they can put that best foot forward and have a solid volunteer program in their company.
We have much more to come with Eric Sponholz of the Volunteer Center of Brown County. We're right back with more after this. We are back now with Eric Sponholz of the Volunteer Center of Brown County. Now, Volunteer Center, you've got a whole lot of special events going on throughout the entire year. Normally, you and I are sitting here like in May talking about the upcoming Volunteer Center WPS Awards coming up in April, but we're here today talking about your 50th anniversary. The Volunteer Awards, WPS, Michelle McCormack and I, we've had the privilege of emceeing that event. It is the best event of the year. And it's probably your biggest event, but it's really not a fundraiser. It's more of a recognition breakfast, is it not? Yeah,
Tom, we always like to say that volunteers that give back, especially in this area, they don't want the pat on the back. They do it because they love it. They do it because they're passionate. But this is a really good opportunity for us to be able to highlight some of those folks.
And there's last year.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a testament to the volunteering spirit in Brown County, and it's a way for us to bring to the forefront, first of all, what these organizations are doing, and second of all, how these volunteers are just making a big impact each and every day.
Yeah. And there you are, handing out some of the awards for those who have not been to this event. And as I say, this is a tearjerker.
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't have a tear in your eye when that thing is over, explain the nomination process and the selection process as to who gets these awards.
Yeah, so we normally put out a call for nominations in early January, and then people have the opportunity to be able to nominate folks up until the end of February. So we give them quite a bit of time to be able to collect information and gather what they need to put together a really successful nomination. And we're fortunate to have 12 judges each and every year that judge all 8 categories, or all 9 categories as of last year with our nonprofit category. So it's really an opportunity for them to learn a little bit more about what's happening in Brown County as it relates to volunteerism, and then the ability for us to take those winners and runners-up of each category and have them announced at our event is really, really exciting. I never want to know who won and who was the runner-up prior, but it always seems that I do. So then, of course, I have to do a little bit of research myself just to see the big impact that they're having.
Yeah, I have served as a judge.
Okay.
Many years ago, I served as a judge, and I realized what a difficult job that is, because the amazing work that these volunteers do.
Yes.
There was literally one meeting where we had 5 sheets of paper with 5 volunteers, and we looked at everybody and just said, pick one.
Yeah.
Just pick one.
Yeah.
They're all the same.
We hear that every year from some judges, that it was a tough decision, and they're always, and I think to a certain extent, they're always so proud of the work that these people are doing, and proud to live in the community where they're able to have the opportunity to look at some of these things, and maybe that encourages them to get involved as well. But it can be a tough decision.
And I've noticed the award winners at that breakfast, when their name is announced, they have done the most for the most people. Right. And they are the most shocked.
Absolutely. They always, when I shake some hands of winners the day of the event, it's always, I never expected this, or I didn't even know this was coming. I thought I was just a guest today, and now here I am standing on the stage.
Yeah, and we got some big time sponsors
Absolutely, absolutely. And Wisconsin Public Service has been our title sponsor for many, many years, and they continue to support our event. Our 9 award sponsors as well, places like Festival Foods, Associated Bank, who have really stepped up and supported not just the community through this event, but the Volunteer Center as well, and it helps us to be able to continue to do what we do.
You got a big golf classic every year. Tell us about that.
Yeah, every year. I believe this past year was the 26th annual. So we were out at Royal Scott in New Franken doing some putting and some chipping and things like that. So again, just a fundraiser for the center, and it gives us an opportunity to talk a little bit about our services and what we provide to the community to maybe a different group of people than we normally would for some of our other events. But it's a fun time to have everyone out there.
And then an event coming up in the fall. It's going to be called Rake Up Green Bay. That's right. Not Wake, Rake Up Green Bay. It used to be called Make a Difference Day.
Yes.
Why the change? What are we doing that day?
We got a lot of feedback from our homeowners that were receiving services and also our volunteers that getting rid of those leaves was the biggest thing that they needed. So we kind of shifted gears last year to change it to Rake Up Green Bay and allow these volunteer groups to go out with the sole purpose of raking leaves, making sure that they're off lawns, that they're getting picked up by the city and everything like that. So it's been a real good feedback for us because we're able to get out and get in front of these people, and this is the biggest need that they have, and we're able to go out there and fill it with a lot of different volunteer groups.
Eric Sponholz is our guest, and we are back to wrap up right after this, so stay right there. Back now with Eric Sponholz of the Volunteer Center of Brown County. We've got a Volunteer Expo coming up, September the 19th. What is it? What goes on there?
So it's our 6th annual Volunteer Expo out at Stadium View Banquet Hall on September 19th, 3 to 6 p.m. This is a free community event for community members to come out and find out different information, different volunteer opportunities for 51 of our local nonprofit organizations. So again, putting a face with the name of an organization. If you're looking to give back and not sure where to start, this is the perfect event to be able to do that.
And maybe not just individually, but also maybe at your company. If you've got 2 or 3 or 5 or 10 people and you've been talking about doing some volunteer work.
Absolutely.
But you really don't know where to go.
Right.
You want to do something good for the community, but you have no idea, and you are kind of like the conduit that can show people
that was
what you can do.
Yeah, and that was the design when we initially started the expo, was to be able to put a lot of different nonprofits in one room, and the ability for people to come out, and they may see different organization names from time to time, and they may notice things that are going on within the community, but we sometimes inherently like to root for the underdogs too. So some of those smaller organizations that are represented at this expo, people can come and learn a little bit more about what it is that they do and then how they can get involved with that organization.
Yeah, we may have heard a lot about these organizations, right. but as you say, you really don't know what they do until you can come face to face with one of these people.
It's the right time, the right chance to have a conversation with them.
Do you have to sign up for this expo? Is there a fee? Is there
no fee? Refreshments are included. It's like I said, free event for community members at 3 to 6 on September 19th. We're hoping to fill Stadium View.
Earlier in this show, I was talking about how this community, Brown County, Green Bay, the area, would be such a different place without volunteers. What kind of an impact? I mean, I know you don't have maybe numbers off the top of your head, but what are we looking at as far as how many volunteers do we have, the kinds of hours they put in, the economic impact on this community?
A lot of reports that we've recently looked at, volunteering is trending down across the country, and you can attribute that to so many different things, but I'd be the first to say that, especially in the Brown County community, we see that staying steady or trending up, and I think it just speaks to this type of community. Again, I don't know what the numbers look like in Milwaukee or Madison or anything like that, but up here in Northeast Wisconsin, Brown County, Shawano, O'Connell, which is really our 3-county scope, we see that it's really stayed steady and in some cases even trended up. And I think that's because people are just inherently, obviously it's that Midwest nice, right? Where they want to be able to give back. They want to get in front of people to be able to make that difference. And it doesn't matter to them how long it takes, when it is. They just want to be in front of people and giving back to those that are maybe less fortunate than them.
Yeah, and have you had organizations who use your people who have come to you and said, without you folks, we wouldn't be in business, or we couldn't provide what we provide.
Absolutely, and again, it comes back to that human capital piece. And when we have nonprofits that are affiliate partners of ours that come to us and say, geez, you've really helped us make this event better with the help of volunteers, or you've really helped make this program better, because we know staffing is a challenge at this point too, and that nonprofits need those people. And if they can put volunteers in those positions as well to be able to continue that really impactful program, it really goes a long way and is able to help us feel good about that too.
And I know at the awards breakfast, I've heard so many of the award winners, even though they have done countless hours and countless wonderful work, to a person, they all say, I got more out of it than I ever gave.
Sure. Yeah, and again, I've heard that same sentiment quite a bit, and again, it just speaks to the people in this region, the people in this area, that they don't do it for the notoriety, but at the end of the day, what they get out of it is just as important as to what they put in.
So if anybody out there wants to volunteer, thinking of helping out in this community, Volunteer Center of Brown County, they've got a place for you. You can use your current talent, or you'll learn a new talent.
We'll figure it out, and we'll work with you to put you in the right spot.
Eric Sponholz, always good to see you.
You too, Tom. Thanks.
Thanks so much. Happy 50th.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
All right. And if you have a newsmaker in your town who you think we should have on this show, let us know about it. Send us an email to tips@wearegreenbay.com, or you can message us on Facebook. And be sure to join us once again Sunday morning at 7. Until then, have a great day.